Good morning, friends. Ugh, feeling tired this morning. Traveling to Cleveland and back in less than 24 hours was harder than I thought it was going to be on my body. But we made it and we're home and, hit the ground running with kids and appointments and all kinds of stuff. But I just thought I would give a little bit of a longer form update on the trip to Cleveland and kind of what's going on with my transplant and my health. So the good news is that when I saw the hepatologist, Dr. Juna, she was very pleased with my blood work, very pleased with, just how I've been responding to treatment, where I'm at. She did explain that even though we got the transplant pre-approved by insurance, and some of you remember the hoops that we had to jump through to get approved, there is a final insurance approval required right before they list me on the national list. And even though we're pursuing a living donor, they still have to list me on the deceased donor list. So, of course, my insurance company is pushing back on that. They're asking for a peer-to-peer review on why this is necessary. So it's frustrating. It can be, anxiety inducing, just like, are we going to have to go through this again? I have to remind myself that the Lord was so faithful the last time. It's just, causes me to wonder, are they going to give my donor the same kind of hassle if and when that person is determined? So my hepatologist is meeting with the insurance company's medical doctor on Tuesday for what they call a peer-to-peer review. So if you could be praying about that, I'm hoping it's just pretty standard and she can explain, all the data and statistics about why this transplant is going to be life-saving for me, and they approve it once and for all, and then I can be listed. Speaking of the donor, I have donor number 4 is going to be tested next week. So if you could be praying, that would be amazing. I know many of you are. And then the other part of my appointment yesterday was an ultrasound on my liver to see if it's possible for us to do histotripsy on the portion of segment 8 and segment 5. They're kind of like side by side adjacent, almost like one area that was treated with Y90 radiation, but there was a little bit of light up on the PET scan, and the MRI mentioned that it could still be viable disease, and they want to make sure that I'm as disease-free as possible going into this transplant. And so it took a while to do the ultrasound. They couldn't get a good angle. They said that one of my right lung is actually in the way. And so we kind of just left feeling like, meh, it's not going to be able to happen, no big deal. Then I get a message on the way home from one of the doctors saying, hey, I know it said it's low probability, but we have this new technique with histotripsy where during the procedure, the anesthesiologist can collapse your lung to kind of move it out of the way, and then we can get a good angle on, the spot, do the histotripsy, and then we would, I guess, reinflate the lung and you go on your way. I just don't immediately have a sense that that is what I should be doing. So I need prayers for wisdom for that. They're going to call me to talk about it more next week. I just feel like it's an unnecessary procedure. No one can tell me if this is viable disease. I have, the radiologist even came in yesterday during the ultrasound and said that he didn't think it was viable disease. He thinks it's, from what he can tell on the scans and the ultrasound, that it just looks like scarring and inflammation from radiation. So it just feels like they want to try this for the sake of trying it. I haven't had a convincing argument yet as to why I need to have histotripsy. I don't know that I want to take the risk of going under anesthesia again before a big surgery, of collapsing a lung on purpose. I mean, to me, it's just added risk that do I really need to take that risk prior to transplant? I mean, and they're removing this liver anyways. So, last thing is I've just been feeling a little bit more anxious lately, and I'm not sure why. I can't pinpoint it. I feel very confident in the Lord's plan. I feel very confident that He is working and He is sustaining us, but it could just be that we're on the cusp of something big, and my body and my mind sense it, my spirit. But I could just use prayers for peace, for endurance, perseverance in the waiting. I have chemo again on Tuesday, so oddly enough, that brings me some sense of calm with routine and having a plan. But there's just a lot coming up that feels big, so I could use the prayers. Pray for my family as we all endure together, our health, that we stay healthy, and of course, as always, that God gets the glory for all of it. Just can't thank you all enough for all that you do for us. You just are literally holding us up. So thank you.